it's Belle. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. It's gonna be a recent reads. And the next 4 after this just fell, so I don't even know if the next 4 are in the order I read them, but whatever. First is the 3rd in the Books of Elsewhere series by Jacqueline West, The Second Spy. Like I said, this is the 3rd in the series. And once again, Olive has had no character growth and development. She didn't learn anything from the horrible outcomes to her actions from the previous book, because she makes even more ignorant choices in this, totally refusing to listen to the trustworthy friends she's made, and keeping more secrets from them. She is even more selfish, reckless, careless, and just in this book. I don't like her even more in this one. The writing, the plot, besides Olive's part, and every single other character, besides Morton too, still all the same thoughts about him, I really enjoy. Rutherford is the absolute best. He's such a great friend, more than Olive currently deserves. Still adore the cats as well. And another beautiful cover and the most stunning illustrations inside. And then Mapmakers and the Lost Magic by Cameron Chittock and Amanda Castillo. And this was such a magical adventure of a graphic novel, and I really enjoyed it. There's great themes of friendship and community in here. There wasn't a lot of depth, so maybe that will be better in the next one, but I had a great time overall. The artwork is just beautiful too, and I really enjoyed that a lot. And then Orla and the Wild Hunt by Houghton. This author's first book, and I was so excited when I saw she had another book coming out, and I wasn't disappointed either because this was phenomenal. I might have even enjoyed this one more than that first book. I didn't like Orla for the first quarter to half of the book, but I understood her. I've been her, and you're not likable when you're in that part of grief. You don't even like yourself. I saw so much of how I myself have acted in Orla's character. She is angry. So even though what happens to the Gran is horrible, the journey they go on to save her actually becomes such a great healing process for her, as well as for her little brother Apollo. I love the Irish folklore vibes of this. It's so rich with the magic of it all. The friends they make and have with them almost through their journey are the absolute best. Fionn, Connor, and Puka. The backstory of each of their new companions was also so intriguing and imaginative. Because of the magical, vivid writing, this is such an atmospheric, imaginative story. Especially added in all the incredible details like the giants, the fae, the wild hunt, the puka, water sprites, the sunken city and the marrows, and more. This is full of magic, folklore, danger, adventure, suspense, atmosphere, imagination, and heart. Great themes of loss and grief, family, friendship, trust, bravery, hope, and healing. Highly recommend. And then When We Were Warriors by Emma Carroll. And I love Emma Carroll's writing, so I was so excited to dive into another of her books. This was so great. This is like 3 shorter stories in one that are all connected and happened during the same time, during World War II. And there's one character we see in every story, which I enjoyed seeing his progress, and the outcome of his story was the cutest and so heartwarming. I love Frost Hollow Hall by Emma Carroll when I read it, so I was very excited to be back there for the first story. Each story was so great. All stories of different kids, different point of view during World War II. I especially love the story involving the kids who did so much to make sure all the neighborhood animals had a place to shelter after they were banned from the air raid shelter by the new air raid warden. Who does that? Full of real life dangers, adventures, family, friendship, bravery, and heart. Just highly recommend. And then the 4th book in the Books of Elsewhere, The Strangers by Jacqueline West. Like I said, this is the 4th in the series, so can't say much, but still love the cats, Rutherford, Miss Dewey, and even Olive's parents. Olive still has no growth in the trust department. She keeps secrets from the ones she can trust and just goes along with whatever anyone new says to do. She's still impatient, selfish, reckless, and a little mean even. I can't believe how much I loved her in the first book and then how horrible she got. We meet some new characters in this one, and there's one in particular I really enjoyed. As usual, everything but Olive and Morton are the best in here, which is why I still enjoyed them regardless. Yet again, another beautiful cover with stunning illustrations sprinkled throughout. I just bring everything life. I love this one in particular. Look at Harvey. He was so excited to get to dress up for Halloween. And then the first book in this trilogy, like companion trilogy, I don't know how to explain it, but Savvy by Ingrid Law. So happy I finally read this. I've had them forever, and I love this so much. And this was such a wholesome, charming, heartwarming read for sure. Such endearing characters all the way around that pink Bible bus. I love the magic system with the savvy the people of this family get on their 13th birthdays and how they're all so different and so unique. The whole idea of learning how to scumble your savvy was so interesting too. I don't even know what I'd want my savvy to be if such a thing were possible, but I love everyone we see in here. The family and friendships of the story, though, are its core and such a beautiful thing. I adored Mims and loved her narrative voice. I could hear it perfectly in my mind, and it's just so good. Highly recommend. And then I read Cameron Battle and the Hidden Kingdoms by Jamar J. Perry. I love this so much. What a thrilling, magical adventure. I love the friendship in here. The 3 kids are more family than many blood families are. The characters are amazingly written. Not just the kids, but all the characters. I always love reading and learning about a different culture than my own, and the mythology too. So I love the West African and Igbo history mythology the author took inspiration from for this book. The book in here and everything about it was also such a fascinating addition, and how it connects to Cameron, literally. The past it shows him too, just everything. I adore the Griffins so much as well. All the underlying themes and messages in the story are phenomenally woven in. Cameron's connection to the history of his people through the book, slavery, grief and loss, and so much more. So much meaning to the story at its core. While managing all that, the author also kept up the adventure, suspense, danger, and perfect pace. Love the twist at the end and couldn't wait to dive into the sequel to see what happened next. Just highly recommend. And then the third and final book in the 13 Witches trilogy by Jodi Lynn Anderson, The Palace of Dreams. And I finished the second book, I think the day this came out, and then I got this the next day. So I love diving right in. And I love this. And I can't say a lot since this is the last book, but I just love the magic of this alternate world, all the details the author put into this, the Palace of Dreams and more. I love the new characters we meet in here, the adventure, the danger, and more. Incredible writing. Never wanted to put down. Incredible characters. I love Germ and Ebb so much. There's a certain bird in this that's phenomenal too. Not sure how I felt about the ending though, honestly, but the whole of the story I loved. So just really had a great time with this whole trilogy. And then I read The Edge of In Between by Lorelei Savaryn. And I absolutely love the author's first book, but she kicked everything up a notch with this one, and I love this even more than the first book because of it. This just might be my favorite Secret Garden reimagining. I'd have to look through the ones I've read to be sure, but just wow. I loved how the author kept the core parts of the story very similar to the classic and wove her own story around that to make it her own. I love the idea of the magic of this world showing in a color inside you, and also in everything you see in the world, and also when something happens like a tremendous tragedy and the grief that brings, that it rips the magic and color from you, as well as all the color you used to see. Everything becomes gray. And what honest, relatable imagery of grief this paints. Because magic or no, it feels like all the colors torn from the world and inside you when you're grieving. Having lost my dad and now my pup, I felt so seen with this book and so emotional, and it felt like a part of my path to my own healing that I am hopeful will come reading this. Also, the important messages of healing, that it is possible, and all the important messages that go with that alone, like the guilt you feel at first for even thinking that you could be happy again. The imagery painted with the author's words with the healing process was also so honest and beautiful representation. What she did with the garden, the crying boy, the maid, the gardener, and the garden, all core parts of the original that she made her own, were superb. Every detail about the garden, especially that miraculous tree, is so magical and breathtaking. The backstory and details of the characters mentioned were so well done. I wasn't even left overly comparing anything to the classic, like it wasn't close enough to the original, or it was too close, so then you compare it to death. None of that. It was just brilliantly done. The bird is one thing I left out because it's one of the most beautiful aspects. What the author does with the cardinal of her story, what it represents, just took my breath away. And I even got teary-eyed thinking about it while writing my review. It's just beautiful. I don't want to give anything away, so all I'll say about this next thing is there's one character who you don't know if they're good or they're bad or what they end up representing is yet another honest, heartbreakingly beautiful, in a way, image representation of what they are. This has beautiful, vivid, detailed, imaginative writing that is magical in its own right. It has incredible, relatable characters, honest, relatable themes of grief and loss, trust, courage, family, friendship, and healing. So atmospheric. All the details of some of the town Lottie originally lives in, and then especially in Forsaken and the house there itself, and the garden and more. Plus the glimpse of in between and ever after we see. And I absolutely love that ending. Every single part came together beautifully and was such a satisfying conclusion. Cannot wait for the author's next book. Whatever it may be, I will be there if it's middle grade. And thank you to the author for writing such an honest book that will help so many on their path to healing. Just highly recommend, if you couldn't tell. And then lastly for this video, the last book in the Books of Elsewhere, the 5th book, Still Life by Jacqueline West. The author has a great knack for vivid, imaginative, detailed writing, building suspense, and overall writes unique, amazing characters, some a little more quirky than others, like Sweet Harvey. The one thing lacking in any sort of character growth and development for our main character, Olive, and Morton stays pretty much Morton as well. Although he did happily surprise me starting towards the end of this, but however, that's towards the end of the 5th book in the series, and he's in all 5 books, so not great growth. Also, going along with the lack of character development for Olive is just the repetition of her doing the same frustrating things each and every book. In different ways, yes, but the same choices, mistakes, actions, consequences, etc. Having said all that, everything that the author does so well is why, even with not liking Olive after book 1, I still love this series so much. Great storytelling, so atmospheric, full of imagination. The characters I loved were so incredibly done. I love the cats, Rutherford, and another character we met in book 4 so much. So happy I finally read these. And of course, another beautiful color with stunning illustrations sprinkled throughout. Alright y'all, that's it for this video. Did you see any that you want to read? Have you read them already? Did you like them? Did you not? Let me know in the comments. And I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you would like to subscribe, I would love that if you'd like to. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.